Baby, you a masterpiece. God took his time on you. Always on my mind, but I'd rather have my mind on you. Beauty is defined on you. Perfectly designed on you. If you see your flaws, let this.
What's up, you guys? It's your girl, the ShortSide, and I'm back with another video for you today. So, spring is here. The weather is getting warmer. Daylight savings time has happened by now. And our houseplants are kind of coming out of dormant mode. For those who don't know, a lot of plants do go into dormant mode during the colder months where they're not really growing as much. They don't require that much water, and they're really pretty much just on cruise control for the winter until the warm weather comes back out and they can start flourishing and being what they need to be again. In light of the spring season, I wanted to bring 5 tips to prepare your houseplants for the spring season. So we're not gonna do any additional chit-chatting. We're gonna just cut right on into it. Tip number 1 is to repot any of the plants that need to be repotted. Like I just mentioned, a lot of plants are coming out of their dormant season and they're beginning to get into the active growth season. During this dormant season, it is likely that they have grown out of their pot and they are in need of a new home, because we definitely want our plants to have enough room to grow, for the roots to be able to breathe, and for it to just not be too much stress on the plant. Some ways that you can tell if your plant needs to be repotted includes if the roots are growing out of the bottom of the pot, if the pot seems like it's about to burst, like if it seems like it's at maximum capacity, go ahead and repot that joint. And if the water runs straight through the soil when you're watering it, that is most likely an indication of needing to repot your plants. So I recommend during this time to kind of check on all of your plants, make sure that the pots aren't too small, and that way, you know, when you go plant shopping, you can buy accordingly and you don't overbuy and do too much. The second tip that I suggest doing when preparing your plants for the spring is pruning, or just cutting off any dead leaves that are on your plants. I highly recommend pruning, because when you cut off those dead plants, that plant no longer has to give nutrients toward it. And like, yes, it's dead, but it's still connected to the plant. And so pruning really gives your plant the best opportunity to grow in the healthiest way possible, because it no longer has to focus on this leaf or this stem that is still connected to it. So I highly recommend pruning. If you have some sort of like pruning shears or like special shears that are specially made to cut plants, I highly recommend using those instead of regular scissors. But I will say, child, I do understand that you got what you got. You got to make it work with what you got, okay? Definitely do prune your plants just to give them their best shot during the active growing season, because that is when we really see our plants flourish. We see all the fruits of our labor coming up. We like, oh my gosh, this plant looks so good. So definitely prune. The third thing that I recommend doing to prepare your plants for the spring season is to ramp up the water routine that you have set for your plants. In the winter time, it's a lot drier, it's colder, and your plants don't need as much water than they might need in the spring or the summer seasons. I always recommend sticking your finger in there an inch, and if it's moist within that inch that you stuck your finger in, then it's fine. But if your plant is super dry, I would highly recommend just watering those plants. And because it's hotter outside, your plants are going to need a lot more water. It's not as cool, it's not as cold, and your plants can get dehydrated a lot easier during the hotter months. Number 4, I think, speaking of water, you definitely want to take your plants outside and kind of not hose them down, but just kind of clean their leaves a little bit. Just because your plants have been in the house in a dormant state, this little light shower can freshen up your plants. This is just to make sure there's no like dust or anything that can accumulate on your plants' leaves while they're sitting in the house, especially during the wintertime. It's kind of just like a spring clean. Just give them a little shower, a little rinse off, make sure they're feeling good. And then make sure that the leaves are clean, because they can accumulate a lot of dust and other types of particles from just kind of sitting around your house in those months in which they were dormant. The 5th tip that I have for preparing your plants for the spring is, while they're outside, just let them sit outside and get some fresh air. Let them get some fresh sun. Now, what I will say about that is you don't want to sit them directly in the sun, especially after, you know, they've been in dormant this whole time, you want to kind of sit them in the shade a little bit. Also, make sure that it's not too cold outside. I would say about 50 degrees and up, it is really okay for your houseplants to sit outside, soak up some fresh air, soak up some fresh sun. And then from there, you can see about kind of transitioning your plants into the direct sunlight. But these are some things that you definitely want to look out for to see if that is too much for your plants. So if the plant's leaves turn brown or white or kind of translucent, they're getting too much sun. So you might want to draw back and put those plants into the shade so that, you know, they're not getting too much sun, because, you know, too much sun is not good for anybody, including us as humans and our skin. Don't forget that your plant is of this earth. So, you know, yes, they are houseplants. They do like sunlight. They do like, you know, natural wind. They do like rainwater. If you can open up your window while it's raining, or even just on like a warm day, your plants will appreciate that fresh air. So I am really advocate for giving my houseplants fresh air, making sure that they have rainwater, and just kind of caring for them in that way. And the last thing that I'll suggest when preparing your plants for the spring is to fertilize. And the springtime is the best time to fertilize because, again, they're coming out of that dormant season and they're getting ready for the growth season. So of course, who doesn't want to be fed when they just wake up, honestly? And this is when your plants do the most growing, so you want to make sure that they're getting all the nutrients and nourishment that they need to grow very big, and or however they're meant to grow. There are some plants that require a little bit more fertilizer than other plants, but I can do a video on more information about that if that's something that you all are looking for. Give this video a thumbs up if that is something that you want. I also want to offer a few ways to kind of pinpoint when your plant needs to be fertilized. So if some of your lower leaves are turning yellow or wilting, black or brown, like rotting roots, if the growth of your plant is super slow, like you've been doing everything right, you're watering it, you're giving it sunlight, but you're not fertilizing it, if your plant is growing slow and not like as fast as you feel like it should, that may be a sign that it needs fertilizer. And also be sure to dilute your fertilizer before you use it. Again, I'd be really happy to do a video dedicated to fertilizers, good fertilizers to use, fertilizers you should stay away from when you know you're over fertilizing, everything of that nature. Again, leave the video a thumbs up if that's something that you're wanting to do. So again, guys, this is a really exciting time of year for your houseplants. This is the time of year that I love the most because I am all in the plant shops. I'm all in Lowe's. Like, what plant am I going to get now? I do have more plant content coming up soon. So if you love the plant content, leave a couple of plant emojis in the comments below so that I can know that you're feeling this. Okay, guys, sorry for the change in scenery. My power actually went out in the middle of me filming that video, but thankfully I was already pretty much in the wrap-up phase, so I just came here to say, if you enjoyed this video, please don't forget to like, comment, subscribe, and leave this video a thumbs up as well. Check out the rest of my videos. Also, follow me on all social media platforms, and let me know what other type of plant videos that you are looking for me to make. I look forward to seeing y'all in my next video. Bye!